All right, so this lesson is recorded as period 6 right now, and this is for the people that are at Science Fair. We hope you're traveling safe and that this lesson makes sense. A quick reminder, for 6.9, the only thing I'm checking for is slide 1 on Monday. Y'all with me so far? Okay, and the work matters more to me than the answers. And on top of that, the answers are already given on the slide. That was Baron ripping tape. It wasn't me making weird noises. All right. Hopefully you wrote down the title, 6.9 Quadratic Formula. Some of you guys grew up in the era where a series of movies came out. Oh, I forgot. The introduction. We have introduction, the proof, the equation, and the examples. Those are kind of the agenda for today. I'm not going to go full-blown out as far as what I normally do with investigation of quadratic formula, just because of time constraints. This movie, who's seen it before?
I've seen all of them.
You've seen all of them. Why are you so happy about it, Marciniak?
Because I like Schmeagol.
You like Schmeagol. He's really creepy.
I have a good voice.
Okay, so you like Schmeagol because you can imitate Schmeagol.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a good imitator.
Okay.
I like Gandalf.
Okay. The preface of this movie, or the premise of the movie, who hasn't seen it before? Okay, or read about it. So this is a very, very famous bit of literature where we talk about the concept of this world called Middle Earth. Now it's fictitious. In this Middle Earth, the people, the leaders, decide to make a ring. They say this one ring possesses ultimate power. Okay, because Middle Earth has a slew of problems. There's elf problems, there's human problems, there's hobbit problems, there's what other creatures? The dwarf problems. There's all sort of problems with depending on what kind of fictitious creatures it is. But they said, hey, even though you're all different, you all have different problems, this one ring can solve the problem. But anyone that knows the movie knows that, does that ring help or hurt more?
Hurts.
Why does it hurt? Why does Shavini?
With the whatever that works, just so they smell them.
Okay, so it's not about smelling, no. The ring, basically what happens, Alla. Everyone wants the ring. Just take the tape instead of making the noises around me. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It consumes you. The all-powerful ring consumes you so much that people want to kill it, and anything that comes with it and obey it. You become slave to power as opposed to anything else. But there's something about one thing that kind of helps. You see, this has been a popular idea in terms of, since the history of man, a lot of people want one solution. They want one king. They want one ruler. We want one president, so on and so forth. There's something about that one go-to person, because we can look up to them, we can blame them, we can do whatever in that sense. But there's at least that one thing that we can actually fall on. Am I correct? Okay? So, the ongoing quest of looking at something to kind of go on one thing. Some people said, hey, let's make it into a math equation. Let's devise a mathematical equation to live by. Is that weird? Okay? Some people's mathematical equation to live by revolves around the concept of happiness. So they say, hey, let's make happiness an equation. But what's interesting about happiness is all dependent on you. Right? Someone's happiness could be dependent on someone's family. Because their family is what makes them happy. They have a mother and a father, they have siblings, and they love their family. Then you have some people with a broken family that don't have a mother and father, that look at other families and they know what that is. And that's a happiness. Some people don't have a very good family at all, even though they have a mother and father. But they have great friends. And their friendships determine whether they're happy or not. You get what I'm saying? Everyone's equation is very different. So it's interesting to see what people have come up with. Let's take a look at this equation right here. This one equation to show happiness for all. Okay? This person. Kids. Yes. Music. Food. We're just going to assume that bottom bottle is going to be drinks. Soda. Okay? Then we got cheese spelled incorrectly and chocolate spelled incorrectly, as if the Belgians do that. And clearly this person likes nature. and then friends. This is this person's equation for happiness. Literally what I typed in when I typed in happiness, equation for happiness under Google. Let's look at this. Look at the diagram. Check it out. Does it make sense?
No.
Doesn't make sense? You're,
You want to be happy?
So sad.
yeah, why wouldn't, that's a good question. Why wouldn't you want to be happy?
What if you don't want to be happy? Then you
Then you have people that make wordles. Their life's a mess, and they just have a bunch of words that kind of come up with that, right?
Good. Exercise for
love.
happiness.
Someone picked the love. I like that
That's
one.
a good
I
one.
love love.
You love love. Good to know. And finally, this one's simple, right? Fulfillment over desires. Now, before I show the next slide, people took it to the next level. Actually, people actually went on to go on to university and get themselves published to actually derive of an equation that could kind of actually get happiness. You see, the University College of London had people that actually developed a real life equation to what they deem to be called happiness, and that simply is this equation right here. Okay.
That looks easy.
Now, I told you guys before that math oftentimes is the same skill but looks nastier. You technically should understand this equation a little bit. Let's kind of break it down a little bit. Okay? Happiness is a function according to this equation. The function of time, t being time, and that's something that everyone has. What we do with our time ultimately determines our happiness, isn't it? Okay? Now, these are otherwise known as a summation of some sort, meaning a bunch of things added up. Now, W0, W1, these are basically starting points. Everyone has an origin story, okay? And what that is that they quantify some sort of starting point, because some people are born happy. Is that true?
Yep.
That's all relative. Some people have a happy situation. Is that what we meant? Some people don't have a happy situation, but most people try to get to a situation where they are happy. We have the summation that is starting with 1, time will progress and continue on, and then we have other variables that remain to be undefined. If you read the article, it should help you, but there's things. I mean, you could talk about food being something that makes you happy, right? You could talk about, sports. You could talk about friends, extended family, all sorts of different things that make you happy, okay? And eventually, all of it technically gets added up, and then you quantify happiness. Isn't that interesting? That we have to use math to try to define what happiness is, as if we can calculate our lives. It's fascinating, because we're obsessed as a society to try to figure it out in one thing. Okay, that's some reading for you if you want to go ahead and read that. So, likewise, I've been teaching this unit, and we've been talking about solving quadratics. Remember, when you solve quadratics, what are we trying to solve? Hands, please. What are we trying to solve? Braden? The roots, right? So when it equals 0, so how many solutions could there be? 2, 1, or none. Okay? Most of the time we'll see 2 just because we want you to do the work. Okay? That's what it comes down to. But you have these 4 methods that we've all taught. How many people like graphing? There's like 1 hand up there, 2 hands. Who are my square root people? Woo! Square root? No. Okay. Factoring people? Look at you. All you guys hated me for giving you all that factoring, but now you like it, don't you? Okay? Completing the square. Ah. And then now we have quadratic. Now quadratic. Shh. Well, yes, Cornetta. Yes, Robbie. Good old brothers. This one is the one equation to rule them all. Okay? Now, like the Lord of the Rings, it can be good and it can be bad. Depends on how you use it. Okay? The pro is it always works. The con is it's complex and a lot of errors may occur. Okay? Shh. What I mean by complex is it takes time. If you did every single question on the test or on the exam with quadratic formula, you probably won't finish the test on time. You get what I'm saying? So if you choose to do only one method, that might work against you. Here we go. Remember isolating variable? This is when math used to be good, old, and easy, right? You see, you want x by itself. Woohoo! X by itself, done, right? Now, I want x by itself. Now, shh. There are two types of problems that you guys can do when x by itself. Now, if I had time today, which I don't, that's why I'm going to kind of shorten this, okay? I would give some people level 1, that's the easier one, because there's no a variable. You guys see that? And level 2 is an a variable. And I want you to isolate the x, meaning I want x is equal to, and x is equal to blank. And on that side, there can be no x's. Can I just show you what it looks like? Normally at this time, if I didn't have to review, I'd just say, hey, knock yourself out. Give you about 15 minutes to struggle with it, and then we kind of come up with the bits and pieces. This is what it looks like when there is no a variable. This is the step to go about it. Hey, do you notice anyone? Look at the c. Hey, b over 2 squared. Remember that? Ah. Right? Because actually, anyone notice this is completing the square?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, pretty sweet. You guys understand it. Okay? Yeah. For you, Stocko, sure. The rest of you guys, no. Anytime. No, you don't require it. And you notice that quadratic formula is this equation when there is no a variable. If you see that? But life would be too simple if it was only that. This is the actual equation. I want you to write that down right now. Take a brief moment to write that down. I'm going to pause the video because I don't want this long pause. So, you should have written down this equation by now. And let's go into how it works. So this is the proof of isolating x. This is what I expected you guys to kind of investigate. Okay? Now,
You won't have to isolate it, right?
it once again is completing the square. If you look at it, you really are completing the square to solve this. And in the end, again, today we're not doing it. You'll notice that in the end, you end up with negative b plus minus. And I want to point out, this plus minus suggests that there's going to be a split. You remember what I mean by the split? There's going to be an adding equation, and there's going to be a subtracting equation. Very good. All right, here we go. I would like you guys to copy down this equation. Okay, we're going to do this one and one other problem, and then we'll call it a day. That's all I expect you to do. First step, I want you to write it in standard form. I repeat, I want you to write it in what? Standard form. Anyone want to try doing that for me? Lalith, let's do this.
X squared minus 2x minus 8.
Awesome. I love it how you even did it in standard form. Is equal to what? 0. Now remember, it is equal to 0, so we're solving for our roots. Now the first thing I want you guys to do is I want you to define A, B, C. I'll be honest with you, I normally don't do this. I'm just doing this for the example, and I want you all to do it right now. On the homework, you don't have to. Okay? You don't have to. But I want A is equal to, B is equal to, and C is equal to. Tell me what each one of those letters are. Jibs?
A is 1.
A is 1.
B is -2.
Negative 2
And C is -8.
is negative 8. Next, fill in the blank. Sure, he's on his way. Bye, Lala.
Bye-bye.
All right, so you fill in the blank, and now here's my equation. X is equal to, negative b. What would negative b be?
2.
Because technically it's negative of negative 2, right? And Rohit, you are absolutely right. It technically is what?
2.
Good. It is 2, because negative and negative is positive. Then you have plus minus radical b squared. B squared. Ria? 4. minus. Now, at this point, some people are going to go ahead and do the math here. When I used to do this in the beginning, I used to make my mistakes all here. So my recommendation is write it all out. Okay, if you take the time to write it out, you're less likely to make a mistake. Now, some of you will listen to me, some of you guys will not. But I recommend it. And then 2a is 2. Are there any questions on how I got this equation? We all understand how I got this. Okay? Okay, so what part do you not understand? Go ahead, Mages. Way to be brave. Literally, what I'm doing is I'm using these letters that are on this side right there, and I'm putting it into that equation. That's all I'm doing. I didn't come up with this equation out of thin air. It's plug and chug. It's fill in the blank. Fill in the blank.
When you do the 4AC, multiply the A and the B first, and you multiply the
See, that's why I want you to write it out. Okay? So let's go on to the next part right here. Let's simplify it. Take your time showing the work in the beginning. Listen, you're assigned 9 problems. If you can show your work for like 5 of them, by the time you've done 5, showing all your work, you probably pick up the pace, which is fine. Then we have, ladies and gentlemen, was 2 plus minus, and it was 4 minus 4AC, and what do you guys get? Was 30, oh, sorry. It was sorry.
4 plus 32.
It was plus 32. Why is it plus 32? Bella? You're multiplying by negative 4. Man, my scribble's terrible looking.
Okay, so you do multiply the 2.
That is correct. If you didn't, what happened is technically was this. Shavini, you see that? It's 4 minus negative 32.
Oh,
And
it's the same thing.
yep. Here we go. Then I'm going to take my time writing down the work again. Plus minus. That's radical 36. And that becomes over 2. You see that? You don't see it? What don't you see there, Phillips? 4 plus 32 is 36. Now here is where we have to reduce it right here. Okay? Loose, check it out. Plus minus, radical 36 is?
6.
Over 2. This is where I'm going to split my equation. Ladies and gentlemen, don't pack up yet. So now I have 2 plus 6 over 2 on one side. And thank you, 2 minus 6 over 2. And now my x's, I get 8 over 2, right? Which is 4. And negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. Plug and chug. Hope that helps, guys. Try the 9 problems out.
When do you